Well, hello and welcome to another video. This time I'm doing a Plymouth Woodie custom, the basis for which is going to be this elderly Dinky 334 Plymouth estate car. Made these cars between 1954 and 1961, and as you can see, this one is in a hell of a state. I bought two a little while back. The first one I used for a Christmas video a couple of years back, and this was the other one, which is in a pitiful state. Looked as though it's been overbrushed and generally thrown about. The base was hanging off anyway. There was no front wheels, so I didn't think that I was ever going to get round to using this one. And then I had a bit of an epiphany and decided it would make rather a nice custom. So while you're watching this one spinning around, I would just like to thank any returning viewers and any new viewers. Welcome. Hope you enjoy the film. If you do enjoy the film, do consider leaving a like, possibly subscribing. I'm constantly trying to grow the channel and your help would be appreciated. Anyway, let's get back down to cases. This poor old thing is going to get stripped and repainted in what I like to think would be the style of a 60s surfer custom car. I didn't bother to film a strip down for this because the car literally fell apart. So here I am just drilling the case to accept a tap so that I can screw the car back together rather than glue it. I do have some plans to maybe put some glass in at a later point and maybe even pop an interior in if I can find something off another car that fits and I kind of like the look of. So I'm just in with a 2mm tap here now, just gently into the alloy, take a few turns, tap the swarf out and go back in again. I'm sure you've all seen this done plenty of times before, but I don't often screw them back together again. I usually just glue them up, but as I say, I do have further plans for this one, but I wanted to present the car as I'm very behind with my videos at the moment. Later on during the course of the film, I'll be giving you some sort of information as to what's been going on. This body was in a hell of a state, and I spent a long time with various French files and degrees of sandpaper trying to make the body look respectable. What was underneath the yellow and brown Dulux paint was nobody's business. It was in an awful state, but I'm getting there slowly with it. In now with the Dremel and the Scotch Brite, and try and polish the body up ready for a bit of painting. It's time consuming, but it's well worth the effort in the end. I'll polish it away like this until I've got a respectable surface on it, and then I usually give them a quick wipe over with methylated spirits just to make sure there aren't any oils or chemical residue left anywhere. So I can get a good ground coat onto it. I'm moving on to the spraying here now, and you can see evidence in the film here of the first of my disasters during the course of this thing. You'll see the lights in my paint booth are flickering. Disaster number one for this one was that the power supply burnt out on my little spray booth, and I had to rig up something temporary. The power flow wasn't constant, so the lights keep on flickering. It was driving me crazy, but it was the best I could do at short notice. I'm just getting a bit of, I've already got some white primer on here, and I'm just giving it a coat of Vallejo matte black on the bottom of the case there. As you can see plainly in that shot, Dinky didn't actually give this a name. I mean, we've always assumed it to be a Plymouth. It's clearly a Plymouth body, but for some reason they didn't put the name on there. I have no idea what that would be. I'm sure that there are plenty of experts there that would be able to tell me exactly why that happened in this case. Now, next, while we're on this, the next up in my catalogue of disasters is promptly my compressor that I've had for some 25 years, called in sick, and I was unable to spray. And it dawned on me that in a cupboard somewhere, I'd got one of these battery-powered, USB-driven spray. I don't know, you'd call it really a kind of mini compressor, I suppose, which some of the other guys use all the while. I bought it, never really got round to using it, but I thought, well, I've no other option for finishing this, so here it is. As you can see in the background there, I've got the disco lights flickering away on my power supply. I've just painted a black base coat down, and I'm going in with a gold now. The idea of which is that eventually I'll put a candy coat of paint down, and I wanted the gold to be a good grounding for the candy paint. It's going on a little thicker than I would have liked. It took me a little while to get used to the battery powered spray gun, because obviously it's considerably lower pressure than I normally spray at. So my first few mixes were a little bit too thick for it to cope with. So I'm back in here with the first coat of the candy paint. This is a JVR candy yellow, which is quite a nice paint. You can use it straight from the bottle, even with this low powered little gun. I was quite pleased with it. It's the first time I've used this colour. I've used previously their red candy, and I found that was pretty good as well. I'm just building up a nice coat now, steady consistency, and get an even cover. I'll flash it off with a heat gun, and now I'm back in with JVR paint again. This one is the candy magenta that I'm laying down. I'm trying to do, as you can obviously tell, a 2-colour fade on it. Trying to take it easy, not get too much of a build up, and obviously the principle is that you fade you blend the colour from back to front darker as you go. Get a little bit on the sides there, although I'm going to have to recoat them for the wood effect later. But reasonably pleased with the way that's turned out. And in amongst all the panicking of failed compressors and failed spray booths, I totally forgot to drill the holes in the roof of the car. Not an ideal time to choose to do it once you've already painted it, but that's the way it goes, I'm afraid. So on the drill stand, and 4 nice little holes in the top. So I've just gone in here and masked over the candy and sprayed a Stynol Res tan neutral on the sides of the car, where I'll be doing the wood effect later on. Quite a good primer. The Stynol Res good ground coat, covers over everything. In with a little bit of detail in here now. I'm not going to be showing you too much of this. It can be tedious watching endless brush strokes on chrome bumpers, so I'll try to keep this as brief as I can. I'm using Molotow, but I couldn't really get where I wanted to with the nib on the paint pen, so I've emptied a little bit out onto the mat, as a matter of fact, the cutting mat, and I'm just gone in with a brush to try and get a reasonable finish on it if I can. So here we are with most of the painting finished, most of the detailing's on. I popped the roof rack on, which is from an Austin that I didn't use, remanufactured thing from Flowers I didn't like, so I've chopped a few pieces on and added it to this particular thing. I'm just cutting up a couple of lollipop sticks to make some surfboards here, which will be going on the roof rack later on. cutting them with my 10A scalpel. Try not to lose any fingertips or turn the film into a gore fest by slicing the end off my finger. Just a few strokes to cut through it. And in with a Dremel to shape it up a little bit. I do find this chuck thing that I bought for the Dremel really handy. You haven't got to keep on changing the collets and what have you to the size of the shafts on whatever tool you're using. Particularly good when you're doing a bit of drilling. And just shaping it up with the sandstone here. I'm sure it's not really meant for that. I'm sure it's probably a sharpening stone or something. But it was in the drawer and it worked. So that was good enough for me. Just shaping the front end of the board now. Just finishing the shaping now. And I'm gluing a little fin on the underneath of the board. I'm sure they're probably not called fins, but I don't claim to be the foremost expert on surfing. I can't even swim, which is kind of ironic when you consider that I live by the sea. Final bit of shaping with a Dremel. Pop it on a pin so I can have a look all around. Yeah, happy enough with that. And just a question now of gluing them onto the top of the car. So I manufactured another one, painted them up. Just popping them on the top now with the UV curing glue. That's the last one in place. Quick burst with the UV light. And just like that, it's assembly time. Got it safely pegged out on the red velvet mat. Now, a keen-eyed amongst you there will have noticed that I've used corgi wheels. I wanted them to kind of enhance the surfer look of the thing. I kind of thought they looked a little bit like the moon discs that used to be used in the 60s and early days of hot roddings and customs. I put corgi tyres on them to decrease the profile and kind of all fit in with the look, which I was pretty happy with the effect. I thought it worked out okay. I'd certainly consider doing it again if I was trying to produce something that looked of a kind of 60s vintage. Just popping the Allen screw in the end there now. I attached it to a pin vise because I can't use the little L-shaped ones to save my life. I drop them more than I do anything else. There you go, it's all intact, and she's a roller, as well as you can be on a bit of red velvet. Okay, and with that all buttoned up, I suppose it's time for a reveal. And here she is. To paraphrase Jan and Dean, I've got a 334 estate car and I'll call it a Woody. I've painted this one with JVR candy colours. It's candy yellow fading into candy red. I fitted a roof rack onto the car, which originally was designed for a spot-on A40 estate car. Giving it a bit of chrome paint to make it pop a little bit. Cut myself up some lollipop sticks and made a pair of surfboards. The wheels are from a Corgi Chevrolet Impala. I've polished them up because I thought they kind of resembled moon discs, which is a 60s customising thing. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. I'll be very grateful. If you're a first-time viewer, thanks for watching and sticking with it all the way through. If you're a returning viewer, well, you knew what you're in for and you sat through it anyway, and I'm very, very grateful. Hope you've enjoyed my little film, and I'll see you in the next one. I've been Helper 59. You guys have been very patient. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.